Andrew, how big is OpenAI? Does it make a profit? They certainly had lots and lots and lots of investing.
Well, how big and do they make a profit are different questions.
Exactly.
They are burning through cash at an enormous rate. I mean, so while this piece was in production, we kept having to change. They've just sustained the biggest fundraising round in history to a higher number because they kept closing more fundraising rounds. The latest, I think, was 122 billion.
Exactly right.
And at the same time, they're still, as far as we can tell, losing money because they just...
Where does the money go?
So a lot of it is going into data centers.
Data centers, right.
So they're building one in the UAE that is going to be 7 times as big as Central Park and use about as much electricity as Miami. And
so this is great for the environment.
Yeah, perfect for the environment. But don't worry because AGI is going to fix the environment.
I feel better already.
And geopolitically, it's worth noting a big thread in this piece is, in addition to talking about some of those early ideas that were raised about, pitting powers against each other, there is still a present day reality of this computational power becoming, as Sam has said, the new currency of the world and the factor that may shape the balance of power between nations. And so there are people within this industry and within the national security establishment who feel that this unrestrained and, in Altman's case, often very nakedly transactional approach to getting as much money as possible, which inevitably in the current reality means doubling down on Middle Eastern money. There are those critics who say that is concentrating a new kind of power that is incredibly geopolitically sensitive under autocracies. That may eventually be beyond our control, that you could wind up with a situation where a dictator has a disproportionate ownership of the most powerful technology on Earth, and that could pose a real national security threat.
But that's where the money is.
And that is where the money is. And we should say it's become standard in Silicon Valley to fundraise from the Middle East.
Hollywood, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
But I will say, even against that backdrop, there was a lot more grumbling about Altman's sweeping vision of really getting such a massive amount of money and in exchange promising such a massive amount of infrastructure
also,
in UAE particularly.
Where you get your funding for a movie is different than where you put, as some people call it, a country of geniuses in a data center. In other words, if you really think that you're growing a new form of superintelligence,
you want to keep it in the family.
Exactly.